Okay, I don't know who this is, but it's not Will Witt, so I'm less interested in it. Is this the replacement for Will Witt? Downgrade. Big time downgrade. He has Charlie Kirk syndrome. He has this shit going on. You know, the Kirk W syndrome? You know what I'm talking about. Look at it. You see it. That Charles right there. Perfect. That's not what you want.
Hey, you guys, it's Aldo with PragerU. Today,
It's Aldo. Okay, let's go.
we're here at UC Berkeley to ask the students about traditional gender roles.
I'm sorry, but you're PragerUing and you have Charlie Kirk eyes, and I couldn't help it. Your eyes are beautiful. I'm sorry. It's my fault. You get one from me. You're fat, Jake. Okay, beat you to it, pussy.
Should we bring them back or shouldn't we?
Some guy was doing that earlier today.
Men and women are at a loss for what roles they should be in and what roles they shouldn't. We can have women that are in the workforce, of course, and we can have men that stay at home. But I think it's important that we recognize the inherent differences that are in men and women.
Why? Why is it important? I mean, important. Why is it important that we recognize that? I mean, like, recognize the difference in each other, the people that we are, sure, because there's differences. And that's important to our experiences, interacting with people that are different from us in a good way. Like, I think that we're different is the fucking cool part about this. It would be pretty boring. I think that's also, for the record, another thing that makes humans very different when the veganism conversation is, and maybe this is just due to our social nature, but we have a vast variety. And also, obviously, it has to do with our proliferation, just biologically. But we're a very successful species, and so we have some different stuff going on there. Anyway, just back on my other shit. If this is a YouTube video, that must be very jarring, but don't worry about it. Watch the debate. Oh, look at me shouting out YouTube. I finally did it. You should watch the debate I did. It wasn't supposed to be a debate. I meant to go in there with a discussion. It didn't work out. It ended up being a debate. I did it with a vegan who said something about aliens. They talk about aliens, and aliens are why vegan. Anyway, go watch it. I think you'll like it. But that'll be the context for this. Like, he was from cows. I just don't think... So he was talking about the differences in gender roles, not aliens. So the differences in... This is what you get for smoking weed, chat. The differences in gender roles and shit, like gender, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The differences in each other is what matters. So, like, just identify it in each other. If the people start doing a pattern of things... We can put a name to it, or we can identify it, and right now man and woman is part of that, but I don't think you need to worry about it. Like, if it changes, it changes. I have no idea why they're upset about that. Right now it's man and woman, and in the future it doesn't seem like it's going to be that way, and down the road maybe it'll, there'll be some kind of social rubber band. Something will happen. We'll open up different things. We'll have to deal with robots and shit. Who gives a fuck? Why are you so pressed about it? I've never understood this. I guess I have better language for it now. I genuinely can't wrap my head around giving a fuck about this. It just seems like it seems like the thing that lesser men do. And I know I sound like a king here, like a lesser men, but I mean truly like just people that are lesser intellectually and like ethically than everybody else. They're just like dumbasses. I don't know why they think this way. I mean, systemically and historically, I understand it. But I mean, like, why right now? Why right this second? You just choose not to be a fucking dumbass. Anyway, I hate this guy's face. And that's not body shaming. I mean, like, I hate his personality, and it makes me hate his face. Because he just said that out loud, and immediately I'm just like, fuck off. I'm already over it. 22 seconds, that's what it did to me. Bring him back. I don't like this new one.
Embrace them. It's going to be a good one. Let's go. Should we bring back traditional gender roles in society?
No, by all means not.
No.
Why not?
Because we should have equal opportunities and equal chances.
Facts.
I think that we've moved away from those roles for a reason. I think that they were oppressive towards women.
It seems kind of lame to have the mom stay at home and do nothing. It seems like kind of an unfulfilling life when you're not really doing anything past raising your kids.
Okay, first of all, I totally disagree with this take. This is just more That's sexism too. Just from a liberal point of view, you can't fucking liberals, dude. You just can't do nothing right. Can't do nothing right. Actually, this is what I got accused of saying earlier. Essentially, it has no bearing on someone's life what they choose. Okay, choosing to be just a caretaker for your children. Oh, what a fucking go get a career. No, if you want, genuinely, conservatives, really fucking hear me here. Okay, I'm a leftist. I want you to hear me. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and just raise kids and just be the best fucking mom you can be, in whatever way that means to be good to you, I want you to have that life. I think you should have that life. I don't think most people want that life, but I know people want that life. I want you to have that life. I'm not antithetical. Nothing I advocate for is antithetical to conservative viewpoints, only authoritarian ones. Okay? If you're a conservative, I don't fuck with that, but you do, and that's fine. You get to live your trad life. You want to be wifed up, and you want your man to be a lumberjack, and you have fucking a million babies, and live a pastoral life on the prairies, but you're white, a traditional life. Traditional life. When they describe a traditional life, they describe colonialism, for the record. Just so everybody knows, the image you have in your head, and I know that a lot of you know this, but I just want the conservatives to know, and maybe the libs that are watching, when they describe a traditional life, you imagine Little House on the Prairie or the 50s. All of this is colonialism. This is the life you have literally doing the colonial, in the process of it. Because the 50s, we still didn't have civil rights. They couldn't marry. Like you're in the process of colonial. I'm just saying. I mean, we're still in the process of it, but we'll pass for now. We can talk about that. That's high concept shit. But Little House on the Prairie, literally, what's the fucking prairie they're going to, bro? They're colonizing. They're spreading out like little fucking roaches. My family did it, and right into Michigan, and it happens. I couldn't control that. I wasn't around. Surprise. It's not your fault. It's just we acknowledge it. That's what's happening. So when they describe a trad life, hello boy. When they describe a trad life, they're describing colonization. So remember that. Anyway, the whole point is, I think Sarah's looming. Sarah can come loom real quick. I like her looms. But the point is, this guy just said, ew, why would a woman just want to be at home? I don't give a fuck. Anything you want to do with your life, that's what I want you to be able to do to the best extent you can. We're all not going to be able to 100% our lives. It is what it is. We all have unfulfilled dreams or whatever. Deal with it. If we were elves, it would be different. We'd have the time. But we don't. But maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we would find stuff to do still. I'm going to make out with my wife real quick. What's up? Anyway, this guy was being misogynist. Women can have any job they want. Okay, we're back. And cut.
You're kind of just a slave to your husband, I would say. But if someone wants to stay at home and that's what they want to do, then go for it.
I think more broadly today, there's no expectations of what men should be and what women should be. And women can go out into the workforce, men can stay at home. But I think today we've lost the definition of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and what roles come along with those genders.
Yeah, that sounds like cuck shit. It's lame. It's loser stuff. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Act however you want. Whoever you are, I want to meet that person. Okay? That's really my shit. Whoever you are. I don't want to know who you think I want you to see. I don't want to know who you think you ought to be. I want to know who you are. And if you can't give me that, it's going to be a very shallow relationship that we have. And that's what it can be. But I mean, that's just what it's a choice.
There are innate differences between men and women that make us men and women.
Physical differences. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, but
innate difference. I mean, it doesn't. You don't have to rely on biology. There's differences that make every single person different. You could not grab any two people. Okay, how about this? You could grab two people from the same gender, both cis, okay, that you would describe 100% differently, right? Literally down to everything. Everything. They could have a dick. Everything. Because of gender, And you wouldn't have... It's just not a reliable thing. I don't know why you want to stick to it. Maybe it confuses them. It doesn't seem reliable. I genuinely don't see the utility or like social utility. I don't see any like pragmatic utility behind it. It doesn't make emotional sense.
Biological differences that inform us of the things that we're good at. Do you think that we should return to traditional gender roles in society?
100 billion%. People are happier when they have
100 billion%. Bro, your hair is dyed. And you're out here without like a male chaperone. I never understand this kind of shit. You're talking to a man right now that isn't your husband. Like, you're free to go do your shit. This is not traditional gender roles. You're asking for a very specific part of the tradition of the gender roles. You're asking for the whole fucking shebang. You're not asking for the ability for your husband to make you stay in the marriage when he beats you in the 50s. No, not that part of the tradition. No. Not being forced to carry children that you don't want, irrespective of the means by which you got them. Not that tradition. Like, what part of the tradition are you talking about? Man do job, woman do childs? Woman, children, man work. Okay, you can organize that way. You ought to do that then. If you want to live that way, you ought to. Nobody else has to do any of that shit. Do they not realize that the world would be like infinitely better and more like productive without this? Like, everybody just doing what makes them happy. What the fuck? Yeah, man. Yeah, whatever. And some people are not going to be happy in that. You literally can't make everybody happy because somebody's happiness, it will infringe, of course, on the don't infringe other people's rights, but it will be core to their happiness, right? Core to their happiness will be the infringement of other people's happiness, and it will be a rub. Like, you're going to have somebody that murders somebody, you're going to have somebody that fucking just hates somebody else. It's going to happen. You're going to have tribalism. It's all going to... Human conditions are fucked up. We're still going to have all our problems, okay? But we're just going to have different problems and better ones and easier to correct problems, okay? Less severe problems. We'll have small problems. That's good. That's a good thing. Okay, would you rather have the check engine light on or be broke down on the side of the road? Easy answer, right? Would you rather be swimming or drowning? Or treading water or drowning? Not an ideal situation in the middle of the ocean. It's better than drowning. So, like, you know, yeah. To a degree, some people are going to experience gender roles that you would describe as typically traditional in some amalgam of way that makes sense. Of course, you'll cherry pick the stuff you like, which is just the classic human experience of fucking conservatives. None of them can agree what conservatism is, but I can definitely tell you what my political view is, and that is whatever the fuck you got going on.
traditional gender roles. I think men and women's relationships, in the workplace, in every aspect of life, when people know their identity and like what they're supposed to be doing and where they're going to excel at, then I think people are going to be happier.
Do you think that there are...
They're going to excel at? I'm a man. I will excel at sports. That's obviously not something you can rely on. So, you know what I mean? Like,
inherent differences in men and women that make us unique, and that some things men are better at, some things women are better at?
No.
Do you think that there are any biological inherent differences between men that make men better at some things than women and women better at other things than men?
Not necessarily. There are biological differences, but you have a wide variety within each gender.
Yeah.
So
I think at the moment men and women are like arch enemies and hate each other.
what? Why? These people need to stop watching conservative media. What? This is not my experience. They just don't like shitters. I think it's men hating women. I think it's specifically people who happen to be experiencing bouts of involuntary celibacy, and just so happen to get in communities where they discuss that topic together, and then a bunch of like chuds. Like that's who we're talking about as men. Because like there's not this like I hate to break it to the conservatives. Like there's obviously friction, but it's like because of like violence and capitalism and sexism, like the things that we say are wrong with the world, the things that the left says, hey, this is wrong. All those things are like when you critique that, like you say, okay, how about this? When you say, I feel like men and women hate each other, what you are describing is what we say is like misogyny and patriarchy, and it's those people doing the thing that you're saying is not those things, and the effect of that interaction is them doing a fucked up thing almost always. Not to say that women aren't culpable for fucking up and making intentions on their own side. Obviously, it can happen, but it almost always involves patriarchy and, of course, capitalism. It just is a thing. I'm sorry that that's always the answer. It's really boring. It's like watch a movie and I bet the bad guy's capitalism unless it's a fantasy movie, and even then it's probably capitalism along the way. Capitalism is a very good tension driver because that's what it does in reality. It drives tension because, if I have something and you don't have it, but and I need it because that's the way we commerce now. So it increases tension between people. Anyway.
But I think when women can fall in...
Is capitalism the root of most issues? It's definitely, surprisingly, the answer for a lot of issues. Is it the most issues? I mean, I think inherently there's something about human brains that are just fucking stupid. So I guess really when it comes down to it, the root of all issues is humans. But we have to live. Well, we don't have to, but we choose to. And I suggest you do as well because it's dope and we only get to be here for a little bit. We're literally little pieces of the universe that gain sentience and are able to view the universe through our own individual lenses. And then when we die, that's what the universe experienced for that little period of time. So think of it like that. You're a little avatar. You're a little avatar for the universe. We're all connected, baby. But really we are, but like I don't really believe in spirituality, so it's more material for me. It's not really, it's beautiful in a way, but like only in words. In actuality, it's like kind of just cold. But I like both. I find comfort in kind of both. There's a comfort to the impermanence of humanity in a way. I was just thinking about this the other day. Let's wax. Chat, let's wax. The impermanence of humanity is where PragerU has driven me. I'm getting existential watching this fucking video, trying desperately to justify living. Because I watched 2 minutes and 18 seconds of a PragerU video. Oh, good. Let's wax. So I was thinking about existence the other day, literally last night or the day before. And I often do. You get high, but I also, it's mostly in the nature of, this is actually surprising, is in the nature of writing for D&D and, the different gods at play and the different like threads that are involved and just like the cosmology of the world. And then I started thinking about our world, and I made a joke the other day about like, what if the devil wrote the Bible, which is a very classic and stolen joke. But then I thought, I think a more interesting thing, like we kind of, whether we like it or not, H.P. Lovecraft, even though he's a racist, I guess in his later life he was trying to work on. Okay, cool, racist, but like, good writer. Cosmic sort of like horror. He had a really. We have the same conclusion, or same math, I guess, but different conclusions, which is interesting. Cosmic horror is essentially, like, if you're not familiar, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu mythos, you probably heard that. Azathoth is a god, essentially like an elder god, like a thing, a primordial fucking thing, a shapeless, formless thing that really doesn't care about anything. It doesn't care about anything, and it's sleeping, whatever that means to it, and if it wakes up, the universe ends because the universe is its dream. And that's scary to H.P. Lovecraft, and there's lots of reasons that's scary. In the universe, there's little like things that have little trumpets and sing to it in the ethereal mists or wherever the fuck it resides, and it's very cool. It's like a cool D&D thing that you could add to your setting, or just read the books or any of the little stories. There's a bunch of little ones, and they're great. H.P. Lovecraft is actually really good, but it got me thinking. That's like our reality. That's just our reality. Our existence, we could live under the understanding that the universe is just like a snippet in time for a thing much older and crazier than we could ever fucking imagine, which is the universe, and whatever that means for if a universe can even end. Like, we're getting I told you, I'm getting existential. We're getting core existential. Like, think as big as you possibly can, even bigger than that, because we can't even really conceptualize it with our ape brains. We live in a universe that is truly, thank you, Soju, for following. We live in a universe truly just like Azathoth, uncaring, truly uncaring of what happens to anything in it, not just living, down to the atom. It's irrelevant to the experience of the universe what happens within the universe. Therefore, back to PragerU. Everyone with me? Okay? Therefore, the fact that sentient life, us, exists in the universe on the mathematical scale of seems pretty unlikely. Okay? Seems pretty unlikely that anything at all ought to exist, right? And Republicans and conservatives often attributed this to God, but hear me out from an atheist perspective. Because we are sentient, sapient creatures that the universe somehow, through the alchemy of existence, managed to form into beings capable of observing. We are the universe observing itself. And I think that while you can use poetry for it, you could use like a cold sort of like, meh, about it. I kind of like both. I mean, I think you can live in a material existence, and the cold, hard reality is I am literally pieces of the universe through stars and the explosions and chemical reactions and the primordial soup of the world, and eventually this after tectonics and the moon and the fucking, it's all there, and existence. And it's just cool. It's just cool. Like, the math of it is neat. But also, like, the romantic side of you is like, but also it's like kind of beautiful, because like the universe, like, you make like a little character in like Final Fantasy or WoW or D&D, whatever you got, and they sort of experience the world. But it's through you. You live vicariously through them, and you experience some sort of like land that you can't experience in real life. And in a lot of ways, that's what the universe does with us. It has little pieces that it plays around in the universe in, not really meaning to, but it just does. And by the nature of the universe, and it literally, whatever the universe is, inherent to itself. We are all the universe, and we are the universe. We're a part of it. We can only be the universe. It experiences itself. And so I think we should just live as happily as possible. Not on dark material shit, literally on real life stuff. This isn't like made up. This is real. You should, like, the only point of living, right, is just to live. And that's like freeing to me. I've never viewed life in really a different way. Maybe I didn't have the words for it growing up, but I wasn't raised myself religious. My parents didn't care. I didn't really grow up with it. There's no real, like, reason to have conservative hangups. I understand things are, like, confusing and, like, what does this mean about me socially? What if I'm attracted to somebody that says they're a woman, but they've got a dick? You know what that means? You ever tried Chicky Nugs? They also have Chicky Tenders. And maybe you'll like Chicky Tenders and Chicky Nugs. If you only like Chicky Nugs, no one's going to force you to eat Chicky Tendies. There's also burgers and French fries and onion rings. There's all sorts of different kinds of things you could eat. But, I'm not going to poo-poo you for liking Chicky Tendies and onion rings instead of chicken nuggets and French fries. I don't know why you got to poo-poo anybody else for preferring them either. Or preferring, wherever this goes. So if you're a tendy or a nuggie, and I guess we're eating each other. This is Chex Mix rules? What is that? What is that commercial? Or is it Oreos? What the things that eat each other? Is it wheat? Frosted mini wheats? Do they eat each other? Anyway. Yeah, you're a lobster roll. Whatever you got going on. Whoever you are. If somebody has the appetites for you, and you have the appetites for them, you eat each other. Who gives a fuck? And not even just relationships, like... Let's stop with the analogies because lobster rolls don't have jobs or anything. Who gives a fuck? What do you want to do in life? Just what do you want to do? Just do that.
You will have a fantastic
Sometimes Kippy giving a sub to Vor. Thanks. Thanks. Appreciate it. Everybody give a sub to something that they love like that. Do it immediately. And I don't know, man. There's just like no justification for these hang-ups, and it's really frustrating to live alongside. That's really the long and short of it. But I'm duty-bound to the universe to experience this, apparently. So I'm gonna. You show me a lobster roll, I'll put it to work. That's right. The puppy pisses on the porch, kick it off and let the big dogs eat. Is that what he said? Anyway.
Into a traditional feminine roles and play these roles that can complement men, and men can play their roles. Not to
so
say
after what I described, the reality that we live in, doesn't this just sound trivial as fuck? Like, doesn't this just sound so fucking pointless to give a fuck about? These people are so fucking pressed about stuff. It's just wild to me.
Say, women couldn't work ever or whatever, but I think people would just be a lot happier. I think marriages would last longer. I think there would just be a lot less complication in life.
So do you think that we should have equal representation in industries in our society?
Oh yeah, 100%.
We have 93% of construction jobs are men, 86% of sanitation workers are men, and 86% of nurses are women.
This is I'm going to let her answer first. We'll see what happens. This is a terrible argument. Let's talk about it in a second.
So should we be forcing women out of nursing and into sanitation and into construction and bring some of those men into nursing?
I think a lot of those statistics are just a product of like the culture that they were brought up in.
That's a decent answer. That's part of it. More broadly, I think the culture shouldn't put pressure on anybody. And if you happen to see in people that you categorize together into a group, a la man or woman, if you happen to see a statistical trend, that doesn't necessarily tell us information about the people involved. It could also tell us more information about the society rather than it tells us information, which was what she was saying, rather than it tells us about the individuals. But like, have you ever seen there's a reason it's not just like strength that did you know women can build houses? Like, shocker. Did you know if all men died immediately, if we all just dropped fucking dead, women would accomplish things? Don't get me wrong. They'd have a hard time. I'm trying to think of something sexist. Pickle jars? Is that sexist enough? I'm trying to think. I'm literally. This is so funny. I'm literally thinking of King of Queens things. Like, what would the King of Queens do to be sexist? Driving. She can't drive. Yeah, I think women would be fine. It's not like ideal, but like, yeah, people can do stuff. It's just surprising that they think. Like, yes, there's going to be societal differences based on how we socialize with one another. I just don't see the utility in enforcing it. You let it play out. If that's what happens, if you're right, then why fucking worry about it? That's what I'll say. If you're right and every fucking construction worker's got to be a dude, then that's how it'll work out. We don't even have to worry about it. We don't have to press about it at all. It genuinely doesn't have to be pressed on. It'll work out. They aren't a dude. I'm calling the cops. No.
Name 3 things that men are better at than women.
It depends.
That men are better at than women? Being fucking losers. Obviously. Being losers, being obnoxious, and being bad in bed.
Depends upon what kind of upbringing they have had. That's what decides that they are better.
You make gender this huge, huge big issue. The left does. Huge big issue.
A huge big issue, gender. I don't know how to... Okay, let's talk the conservative. The one conservative, hypothetically, that's possible, that stuck around and didn't just rage quit because they're strong and they're willing to listen to other points of view because they're not betas or whatever. I just don't see how we're the ones making gender a thing, like a big deal. Literally, if you describe this to, remember that vegan? You describe this to the alien that vegan doesn't want me to eat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. If you describe this to an alien and you said, hey, okay, there's some people, okay, that want to live in a way that makes them happy. Okay, and the alien's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm an alien. I like to be happy. Aliens love being happy. It's the number one thing we do is being happy. In fact, we're on a vacation to Earth to be happy because we want to see... Stop interrupting me, alien. And then... So, these people want to be happy. Sounds dope. And then there's a bunch of other people who are like, no, you don't get to be happy. The alien's like, well, first question they're going to be like, well, what are they doing that makes them happy? Is it fucking, is it messing with the other people? That sounds fucked up. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. Oh yeah, they're so these people that want to be happy are expressing themselves in ways that feel true to them. They're expressing themselves. What does that entail? Oh, like every facet of socialization, from dress to talking to maybe none of that, and anything, like any sort of number of those things. It could be a lot of different things. Just a name change could be nothing. It could be nothing at all, and they just feel away. It's probably something though. It's probably a little something, but yeah, just socialize in a way that makes them happy is really, yeah. I mean, they just want to socialize in a way that makes them happy. That's really what it comes down to. And the alien goes, and people are against this? Yeah, people don't want them to socialize in the way that makes them happy. Yeah, I don't get it. And then we would just go around. We would go around and round, and I would try to explain, no, you don't understand. They have conservative, and I'd have to explain the whole of human history for them to even get to the point where they can understand why a human would be against that. And at the end of it, they'd say, oh yeah, that's conservative Christian values leaking into what they view as like a secular real worldview, or not, depending on who you ask. And so yeah. Anyway, Jesus isn't real. He isn't real. You don't have to worry about him or his rules. Live free, my birds.
My gender this, my gender that.
My
but
gender
then
this, my gender
you're
that.
like
It's literally, I know I gotta pause. Literally not my gender this, my gender that. It's literally just people existing.
forcing it, but you're neglecting what your gender actually is. Everyone cares so much about gender, but they have no idea what gender they are or what it even means to be a particular gender. It's bad. I think it's negative.
Can you name 3?
There's no prescriptions to be any gender that you feel like you are. Because gender is meaningless, but it's a thing we use right now because people are really pressed about it. I imagine in time, gender abolition wins if we last long enough. There will still be identifiers for physical features in some way that we probably we would identify as gender, but maybe someone in the future wouldn't. This doesn't seem like a problem to me.
3 things that men are better at than women.
No, I don't think that it's like black and white like that.
I think they're really good at protecting. I think they have the best sense of humor. They're very funny.
You can't name 3 things that women are better at than men?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with gender.
Yeah, me either. Based. I like her. She's cool. She's cool. She's in the blunt rotation.
I think naturally women are better at nurturing and
Neither
listening,
of these people are.
caretaking.
These people in the back seem okay.
Maybe this like more gentle
Like this
role,
guy's
but I think women are also very good at organizing and things like that. So
women are good at organizing. Women are good at organizing. So what they're describing is definitely just sexism. So I thought of this now. I kind of want to give people a list of 3 traits and then have them guess only at that if they are man or woman. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Can't cheat and be like, non-binary, that's cheating. That's fireball in a rock, paper, scissors game. You can't call that. That's cheating. Men are good at protecting. That's true. Men are good at protecting. Did you guys know that 45% of cops are really great at protecting their wives?
I would just say probably in general.
Well, you guys, that's a wrap here at UC.
Oh, fucking thank God. Okay, good. Get me out of this. Bring Will back. I'm not even going to listen to whatever he has to say. Bring Will back.